everything Japanese is really Chinese. I mean, I don't deny that. But I think their mistake is that they put very identical images. You can tell the left side is Chinese, right? And the right side is Japanese. Meaning it's different. Hi, baby. People who cannot differentiate these is only Ubisoft. But let's watch this. Are you Chinese? What Japanese? Everything Japanese is really Chinese.
Everything Japanese is really Chinese? Seriously? Well, yes. I mean, this title is clearly a generalization, right? And what it means is that the main cultural items that are widely assumed across the world to be Japanese actually come from China.
It's true. I mean, I don't think none of the Japanese deny that kind of idea. But saying that is... Wait, how many civilization was it? Like 4, right? Egypt, Mesopotamia, Indus, and China. These 4. So saying everything Japan is China, meaning like everything Europe is Mesopotamia, right? I mean, none of them shocking.
Number 1, ramen. Ramen is a Chinese noodle dish, not Japanese. It was brought to Japan by Chinese.
I think everyone knows, but Chinese ramen and Japanese ramen is very different. I'm not sure he's gonna explain, but after World War II, Japanese developed the ramen their own way. So it's completely different dishes. Let's see.
In the late 1800s, the original Japanese name for ramen was Shina soba, meaning Chinese noodles.
Yeah, number 2.
Number 2.
Okay, I can explain. So, by the way, in the rumor, the first person who ate ramen in Japan is called Mito Koumon, pretty famous guy in Japan. Okay, so what happened after World War II was that there's a lot of Chinese immigrants in Japan and they started making ramen. But it's Japanese culture. We always adapt something and transform to their own way. Like anime manga culture is rooted Disney, right? But we translate it to our own way. So what happened was that in the ramen, it's my view, Japanese more focused about soup than noodle itself. Most Japanese ramen store focus soup first, the broth first. And then they pick the noodle that fits to the soup. But Chinese noodle, I don't think they focus about broth that much, but noodles. I've eaten in China and New York City. I'm not gonna lie, Chinese noodle is pretty good actually. But many Chinese friends I have prefer Japanese ramen.
Japanese writing. The Japanese writing system known as kanji has a name formed of 2 elements. Kanji literally means Han writing. Han is the biggest ethnic group in China.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Yeah, that's it. But you know, this is true. But hiragana, katakana is also from kanji. But it's pretty Japanese. The seed is from China, but we develop their own way. Right, baby? Kimono?
Kimono. This was an adaptation of the type of draped silk clothing from China known as hanfu after the start of the Heian
They don't look kimono though.
period in Japan. In 794 AD, it became popular and started to acquire unique Japanese elements.
Let's see this guy. Let's see this guy make a video about spaghetti is Chinese food.
Number 4, blossom trees. Japan's famous cherry blossoms actually come from a tree indigenous not to Japan, but to the Himalayas, which border southwest China. In fact, a long way from Japan. The practice of celebrating the annual blossoming of beautiful trees, such as the cherry blossom and the plum blossom, spread.
And this is not about culture, but nature.
From southwest China across to Korea and Japan, taking several centuries.
Yeah. And I realized that I really think you should change your background. You look like a conspiracy theorist or something underground.
Make that journey. Number 5, sushi. Sushi is fish with vinegared rice. It's vinegared to give it a pickled taste, and that's a clue towards its origins. It was a Chinese pickled dish in which salted fish was wrapped in fermented rice.
This guy. You get paid. The origin of sushi, it actually came from the East and Southern Asia. It's called narezushi. So they pickle fish with salt and rice. Culture is not only about how it was created, but how it was developed. So I really think ramen and sushi, wherever that seed comes from, I think the Japanese did a great job.
Today in Japan, a sushi kitchen is called a tsuka-ba, which means pickling place. Number 6, the Japanese language. Japan has its own language, sure. But statisticians have calculated that at least 60% of Japanese vocabulary comes from Chinese origins. Number 7.
This guy really wanna do something. It's like Italian or people from Greece claiming that all culture is from us.
Being ruled by an
Emperor.
In the early 7th century, the Japanese adopted the title of emperor from China for their own leaders. They used the same Chinese characters and the same concept, but the leader by definition was the Son of Heaven. This new rank was then retroactively applied to all past Japanese rulers, who all became emperors and sons of heaven. Sorry, ladies.
But China don't have an emperor anymore, right? We still have it.
Number 8, bonsai. The practice of growing miniature trees and creating tiny landscapes developed in China more than 1,500 years ago. It was known as penjing. The technique was introduced...
Yeah, 15th century, he said. So Japan was really admiring Chinese culture until 15th and 16th century. And also China was like a top of civilization, right, at that era.
Used to Japan in the 7th century from China. Number 9, sashimi. It was the Chinese rather than the Japanese who realized more than 1,800 years ago that the flesh of certain fish was delicious, eaten raw. No cooking necessary. Food historian Jacqueline Newman said that raw fish consumption began in southern China before 200 AD. And of course it came to Japan much later, about 1,100 years later. Number 10.
But if you go to Tsukiji, where you can eat really good sashimi, 80% of people line up with Chinese tourists.
And the tea ceremony. The tea ceremony originated in China during the Tang dynasty.
Even, matcha is actually originated in China too.
Which is about 600 to 900 AD, as you knew. It developed as a meditative health practice before evolving into an artistic ritual by the time of the Song dynasty, which started in 960 AD. Now, it was then taken to Japan by monks, like many Chinese cultural practices.
I personally prefer Chinese tea culture, to be honest. But I really think a Japanese tea legend, Sen no Rikyu, created like a Zen wabi-sabi tea ceremony. I think, again, Japan did a great job to transform to new form or develop to new form.
Number 11, the board game called Go. Now, in Western culture, Go is a game associated with Japan. But in reality, it's probably the world's oldest board game, originating in China about 4,000 years ago, according to Encyclopedia Britannica. The game was taken from China to Japan in 500 AD, which is comparatively recently in Chinese terms.
Who the care?
Number 12.
Can't believe it's still 4 minutes.
Green tea.
Green tea.
Green tea.
Why you didn't explain with tea ceremony?
Tea or matcha comes from China and has been consumed for probably 4,000 years. It was brought to Japan by monks, again, during the 8th and 9th centuries, very recently by Chinese standards.
Yes, and also I think there is a first tea farm in Japan. Where was it? Kyoto? Or it's Shiga Prefecture. So there's a first tea farm in Japan and they still have it. It's since 805. But my favorite Chinese tea is Pu'er and Oolong.
Two holy men, Sai Cho and Kukai, are credited with bringing it over the waters to Japan from China. Number 13, architecture. The Japanese admired China's extraordinarily long-lasting structures made of interlocking wooden elements. And so there was a lot of temple building based on Chinese innovations in 6th century Japan. The Japanese capital, Nara, copied the checkerboard street layout of the Chinese capital, Chang'an. But it must be said,
yeah, this is so funny, right? China was really a great place at the time.
The Japanese afterwards developed many of their own unique architectural elements. 14, the
Asian sword. Asian sword.
It was actually Tang dynasty
you wanna say katana?
In China, who revolutionized sword making in the 7th century with a blade called the Bao Gang Fa. They fused high carbon steel, which enables sharpness, with low carbon iron, which provided strength. The result was a blade that could slice through samurai armor. Now, Japanese envoys brought Chinese swords back to Japan in the 700s. To give them due credit, the Japanese could be said to have improved both the recipe and the design.
I mean, that's everything what you said. Yes, we we developed it our own way.
Eventually come up with the curved katana sword. 15. Cultural figures.
Cultural
One of the
figures.
most famous pop culture items from Japan is Dragon Ball. Now, the creator of Dragon Ball fully admitted that his story was simply a retelling of the Chinese classic Journey to the West. Here's the backstory. Back in 1983, Akira Toriyama decided to create a manga.
Wait, they are trying to take Dragon Ball? I give a Japanese slang. 무리개 means like impossible game, impossible to conquer. Dragon Ball is Dragon Ball. It's a Japanese made
Comic book. It would retell the story from the 16th century Chinese novel, Journey to the West. Now, that novel stars a supernatural main character named Sun Wukong, which in Japanese is said Sun Gu Ko. In the original book, he and 3 friends go on a journey in search of mystical scriptures. In the manga, Toriyama made it into a tale of a supernatural main character called Guko and 3 friends going on a journey to gather the 7 dragon balls, orbs that summon Shenlong, a dragon who can grant wishes. Now, Toriyama thought the world would want an alternative to Western comic books and deliberately gave it a very Chinese setting. He used Chinese buildings and photographs of China that his wife had taken. And, of course, beautiful mountains.
So he didn't explain. So originally Dragon Ball was created as a parody of that Journey to the West. So original Dragon Ball, according to the interview, is that Akira Toriyama was huge Kung Fu movie fan, which is Hong Kong. But Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z is very different, right? Wait, do I need to explain this?
Pokemon is another Japanese modern classic, and that's got many ancient Chinese elements too. Research the 9-tailed fox, for example. 16.
Just one. Give me more example. Don't do that. Oh my god, this guy is so rude. Zen.
Now, this is on my list because it also came from
India.
China to Japan.
Zen comes from India, from Dharma.
But it didn't originate in China, or at least not entirely. It's believed that an Indian monk, some say his name was Bodhidharma, came to China around 520 AD. His teachings became combined with Chinese philosophies such as Taoism, and that led to the development of a practice called Chan, which is how the word Zen was originally pronounced. Now, records indicate that Chinese Chan Buddhism reached Japan in the 7th century, but was not firmly established in that country until the 12th century, when it was called Zen.
So everything Zen is from India, not China.
Okay, I gave you 16 items. Things assumed to be Japanese by most people.
Who assumed that Japanese? Pokemon is Japanese, 100%.
But which are actually rooted, have their origin in Chinese culture. But there are others, so feel free to add more. Or shoot down the ones I've listed if you prefer. I always like to learn. But first, let's deal with a natural question. Why do so many Japanese items come from China? Well, for much of history, China was the cool place, the happening place, the big place, the creative place, the obviously dominant
Hey. No.
cultural centre of the most highly populated part of the world. So naturally, people wanted to visit it, people from Vietnam, Laos, everywhere. One ancient record shows that between AD 603 and AD 839, the Japanese alone sent at least 17 diplomatic missions to the Tang Dynasty royal court.
I don't think this is the right way. If you lost some cultural reputation, because of China destroyed a lot of good culture and denied during the Cultural Revolution, right? I think rather than trying to get back Japanese culture to China, I think they should create more culture by their own, like new culture. Or they already have great culture. Why don't they just promote that?
It's in China. I'm going to add one more item to my list. Do the Japanese people themselves come from China? You know, the simple answer is that DNA shows that all the peoples of East Asia clearly overlap. I mean, that's obvious, right?
Japanese have Jomon DNA. I have a great video. I have video explaining this if you are curious. But yeah, Japanese has Jomon DNA.
But this is one of those questions that you're not really allowed to ask. If you do an academic study that emphasizes the difference between the Japanese and their neighbors, it will be published and it will be quoted in Wikipedia and so on. But if you get any other views, well, don't go there. That's my advice. Don't court controversy. Stay safe, read widely, please.
What? What? Eh? What is this? China. Is that Hong Kong? Gosh. I'm so hungry now. I'm so tired. I'm gonna eat ramen, which is originated from China. Stay safe. Peace. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, click on the left for the fun video about Japan and on the right to see more videos. You guys have a great day.